Hi, welcome back to My Mom Life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today we are making homemade pizza. I am sharing with you a recipe for some homemade pizza dough. So you need flour, a tiny bit of sugar, and then you're going to need some instant yeast. This is what I buy. I buy it in the jar like this and keep it in my fridge. And then you're going to need some salt and some warm water, and that is it. We will use some oil in a little bit. But to get started, I'm going to measure out my flour. I am just making one large size pizza today. You could easily double or triple this depending on what you wanted to make or how many pizzas you wanted to make. You could use this for cheesy bread or calzones, anything like that. But I'm just showing you a traditional large size pizza. So I'm going to add in my flour, salt, a little bit of sugar, and yeast and give that a mix with a fork. And then once that is mixed, I'm going to go ahead and pop this bowl on my stand mixer with the dough hook. You don't have to do it this way. You could do it by hand, but I love to use my stand mixer when I'm making doughs. And I am just going to add that warm water in. You want to make sure that the water is warm, not too hot and not too cold. That way it activates your yeast. And we are going to let this mix for a few minutes. Once it starts to come together, I like to stop it and scrape the sides of the bowl down just to make sure that all of that flour and yeast and everything is getting mixed in evenly. And then I will let the mixer go for about 7 to 8 minutes, depending on how long it takes to get the dough to the consistency that I like. And I will show you that here when it is done mixing. Not only am I sharing with you this pizza dough recipe, I am also sharing with you how to make easy pizza sauce from scratch or from a can of tomato sauce, just plain old tomato sauce, how to turn it into pizza sauce. So I'll show you that here in a second. So once my dough is done, this is the texture or the consistency that I like. It is not sticking to my hand, but it is springing back when I touch it. That's what you're looking for. So now I'm going to take that dough and I'm just going to coat it in some olive oil. Coat the bowl and the dough in olive oil so that it does not dry out as it is rising. And we are going to let this dough rise for 1 to 2 hours until it's doubled in size, and then we can roll it out and bake it up. Once my dough has doubled in size, I go ahead and roll it out on my clean countertop that I have sprinkled some flour on. That way it doesn't stick. You could also spray your counter with non-stick cooking spray, and that too would work. You just don't want it to stick to your counter. So I'm going to roll it out as best I can into a circle. I'm not the greatest at this, but I do my best and get it into somewhat of a circular shape. And then I have a pizza pan that I like to bake this in. You could definitely do this. I've done it in like a rectangle shape on like a sheet pan, but this day I was just going for a classic circle pizza. So I'm going to get it rolled out as best I can and then pop it onto my pizza pan. Now I am just going to brush the crust with some olive oil. And this is my pizza sauce. Let me show you how I made it. So I have 1 can of tomato sauce, just a regular sized can, and I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of olive oil. I will, as always, have measurements and ingredients and all of that written out for you in the description box. This is sugar. Just a little bit of sugar is going to cut the acid in the tomatoes. And then I have Italian seasoning. I like to add a lot of Italian seasoning. I think it adds that flavor that you're looking for in pizza sauce. You can also add just dried oregano. And then I'm going to add some garlic. And I love to add crushed red pepper flakes to sauce like this. I think it adds just a little bit. You don't have to add a whole bunch, but it it really makes it good. So I'm going to give that a stir and let it simmer on the stove until I am ready for it. Letting it simmer just lets all of those flavors get nice and combined. You could do the pizza sauce once you first get your dough rising and let it simmer for that whole hour, just really, really low heat. So now back to the pizza, I'm going to add the sauce as much or as little as you want. And then you're just gonna top it like you would any homemade pizza. I just did cheese pizza this night, so I used mozzarella cheese. And you want your oven super, super hot. So I have it on 450. And if you wanna bump it up to 500, you could. That just, it gets a little scary when you go like to 500 and it really heats your house up. So I keep it on 450. And you bake it until it is done, pretty much, depending on your oven. So 10, 12 minutes, and it is done. So I'm gonna put the cheese on, and then if you had any other toppings, now would be the time to put those on, and then we will bake it up. And when it is done baking, this is what it looks like. I just use a pizza cutter and cut it into slices, and that's it. There you have it, homemade pizza. We make this all of the time. Highly recommend this recipe. And like I said, don't forget to check the description box below if you want to make this. If you do end up making it, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And if you liked this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It really helps me out, and I will see y'all on my next one. Bye, guys.